right? I wasn't recording you for 10 minutes like I normally do. I waited like a cordial friend and polite communicator is supposed to do. And it looks like it's still picking up on my sound. Why don't you say something?
What's up? Can you hear me all right? Hopefully there's no echo. I know my chair's a little creaky though. I gotta get some oil or something for it.
A little WD-40.
DW40, yeah.
Where is it, David?
Yeah. It's Lord.
Let's roll.
All right, so what were we talking about? Recast T'Challa?
Something like that.
Something like that. For some reason, it's been trending all over Twitter for 4 or 5 days straight.
About a week, yeah, give or take.
I've seen you getting into heated conversations. I'm getting into heated conversation. Yeah, you, the troublemaker. Getting into heated conversations with people online. They just trying to go about their business, enjoy the Wakanda Forever trailer, but then wham,
here I come.
Here you come with your movement talking about boycott the movie.
You gonna start it off with the fake news.
Here you go.
Okay.
Telling everybody don't watch Marvel movies no more because they didn't recast T'Challa.
Right. Yeah, that's me.
That's you. Right?
Yeah.
Just going live every Wednesday, recording and supporting it for no reason until they recast T'Challa. I know.
There you go.
So
glad we got the real info out there now.
So this trailer came out last weekend. We were greeted to it. And I'm curious. I want to talk about the trailer itself, but let's at least talk about the headlines, which is everybody's reaction to recast T'Challa after the trailer was released. It was like, as the trailer was released, there was already the recast T'Challa petition, the movement, but more people became aware of it after the trailer released. And then the people who did become aware of it started seeing some of the negative commentary that some people were saying about T'Challa not being recast in this film, and they gravitated towards that. Yep. So why you can't control your peoples?
Well, I think it's important to kind of give people a timeline of events, right? So, because again, this is new for some people. Some people have no idea why it's trending. This is new for them. They just found this hashtag out. They're reacting to the hashtag. They don't know the history. So I'll give you the quick spark notes. Let's all recall back in August of 2020, Chadwick passed away. December of 2020, Marvel said, we will not recast the role of T'Challa. They ain't put no conditions on it. They didn't say for this movie. They didn't say for now.
Like
they didn't say
week, right?
Nothing. It was just like, yo, T'Challa's done. No recast. So, after doing some research and months of, just dwelling on that, I started the Recast T'Challa petition on change.org/Recast T'Challa. And also, the hashtag, because I wanted to make sure that the hashtag and the petition were synonymous. Right. And the petition was very simple. We were saying you do not have to make it an immediate recast.
Nope.
You do not. This is not preventing somebody else from getting the mantle. Shuri. It is not something that is supposed to be disrespectful to the family, cast, crew at all. We're asking not to use Chadwick's real life trauma and the death as a plot device in the movie. Right. And at the end of the day,
not to use it in the promotion or in the marketing.
No. In the petition, it does say don't use Chadwick's death in the actual film as a plot device.
Okay.
I'll stay consistent. That is what it is in there because it's troubling. It's like, yo, T'Challa, the last tenet is continue the portrayal of T'Challa. And I left it very open, very vague. I didn't say you have to make it the 616 version or anything. I just say, yo, whatever you do, continue the portrayal of T'Challa. That was it. Now keep in mind, I'm responding to the information that I knew in April of 2020. Okay, so I need people to understand that, because unfortunately, a lot of times people 2022 lands and think that this petition got created like yesterday. No, it did not. It was created a year and a half ago, and keep in mind, production on the movie didn't start yet. Production didn't start until June of 2021. Then they got delayed till July of 2021. During that time frame, Recast T'Challa, the petition, started to pick up steam. It got like about 1,000 signatures. All of a sudden, it started making the little internet webs, comicbook.com and stuff like that. A couple months after that, it got up to 10,000 signatures, then 25,000 signatures. And it really started to make a little bit of noise. People started to notice. So much so, keep in mind with these dates, so much so that in November of 2021, Nate Moore and Kevin Feige had to double down on the fact that they were not going to recast. Now, Nate Moore threw in a little caveat saying, just not the 616 version. And that was a little bit different.
Yeah.
But I just want people to understand, they would not have to say that if Recast T'Challa wasn't trending and being a topic of conversation. And we continue to trend. I'll give it a more short version. We kept trending in December. Then we kept trending earlier in the year in 2022. We kept on trending, and I told people from the jump, the moment this trailer drops, we're going to trend again. And guess what? I'm going to tell you again right here and right now. When the movie drops, we're going to trend again.
So hold on. All right. So I remember the history, right? I was there.
Yes.
I don't know how I got you to do it, but I think I got you to talk about it on the correct opinion before you even published your petition. I think
it's very possible. Very possible.
So I know what you don't want very well. I don't think people always get the message of what you do want clearly. So being someone on the outside, not really on the outside, I guess I'm like in the room. I'm like that person in the room watching people like in the lunchroom as things are going down. As someone on the sidelines, here's what I've interpreted that Recast T'Challa means. It doesn't mean an immediate recast. We're not saying Wakanda Forever, cancel the movie. They should have never did it without this. That's never been part of the communication from the foundation, from the beginning. What was always said was that this next movie will likely have to proceed without T'Challa's appearance because the real life actor passed away. However, we don't want the rash decision to be made that in future subsequent opportunities, whether that's a movie or a television show, that they no longer use this character, or they try to have another character inherit this one's storylines.
Yes.
Right? Just want to try to make it as clear as possible for layman's
keep it going.
People who
you ain't got to do nothing
caught up in the hate.
Crazy. Yeah, you ain't got to do nothing crazy. Like, yo, if you want to put T'Challa on the side, put him on the side. You want to put him in the background, put him in the background. Just don't end the portrayal forever. That's all.
Now, we talked ad nauseum till our faces were blue about how this conversation could go negative, about whether or not people would interpret this as being anti-feminist or anything like that.
Yeah.
And just to be clear, in Marvel Comics, since I'm the comic guy, in Marvel Comics, there is a precedence for two Black Panthers to be operating at the same time. In the comics, T'Challa did pass away. Shuri did inherit the mantle of Black Panther and Queen of Wakanda. However, T'Challa was resurrected. And I think it was by the goddess Bast. I think she resurrected him. And
it was. You talking about the second time?
Yeah, when he became the king of the
first
dead.
Time he was in a coma.
No.
First time he was in a
he's
coma.
Straight up dead. He became king of the dead.
Yeah, I know. I just wanted to make that clear for people because people get it confused. First time he was in a coma. That's the first time when Shuri actually got the mantle. Right. But T'Challa was still present. And then yes, later on he went to the afterlife or whatever. Boss resurrected him. He king of the dead, etc.
And he wasn't Black Panther of Wakanda. He was Black Panther of the dead, while Shuri operated as Black Panther of Wakanda. and this is the way the story was told. Now, there's an opportunity, obviously, if they wanted to go the resurrection route, that he come back and look different, or he come back as a multiversal variant, or whatever. But this is more so where we want the story to go. Am I right here? Some magical writing, bring the character back. There's a precedent for it in the comics. Make it make sense. Just don't end him.
I don't care. I don't care. Like I said, when I talk about, and again, when I kept it nice and broad to say keep the portrayal going, it was really not just for me as a Black Panther fan, as a Chadwick fan, and etc. And there are other layers to this, but it was really for kids, because at the end of the day, the kids that do look up to T'Challa, whichever kids those are, I don't think that they're going to sit here and be like, that's a different actor. Oh, this doesn't work in my imagination, or this is a different continuity. That doesn't work. Like, kids don't care about stuff like that. They just want to see their hero on the screen. It don't matter if it's Michael Keaton or if it's Christian Bale. They see Bruce Wayne, Batman. That's it. And it's no different with T'Challa. So even if it were another actor, as long as T'Challa is on screen, I think that's all that matters. I don't care how they come about it. I don't care. It's fiction. Literally anything could be used. Anything.
So what kind of misinterpretations are we seeing online today?
The funniest thing is that, first of all, the petition was crafted, as you know, we crafted this thing as carefully as possible, because I wanted to make sure that there were no flukes or errors or misinterpretations, kind of like with other movements, right? And having their narratives hijacked. Matter of fact, if you go to the petition and you scroll all the way to the bottom, there's actually an FAQ right there. There's an FAQ right there that tells you a lot of the things that we're about to talk about right now ahead of time. So one of the bigger misconceptions was, what about Shuri? What about the mantle? If it goes to the sister, that's in the comics, right? And I'm like, yeah, but that's why this is called Recast T'Challa and not Recast Black Panther. This is not a conversation about the mantle. This is not a conversation of who should inherit the mantle. I'm very okay with Shuri or anyone else taking the mantle, just like in the comics. Because in the comics, there were other people that had the mantle, but T'Challa remained. So that's the point. T'Challa is important. He should be able to have his portrayal continue regardless of whoever gets the mantle. And again, I would also emphasize and push back against any of the sexism comments, because as you mentioned, I'm totally for and wishing for, actually, the day that we can see two Black Panthers on the same screen, and that is with Shuri and her brother T'Challa, because I think there's a better form of representation on all sides if we have a strong man and a strong Black woman all on the screen together. I think that's better than trying to pick and choose between Shuri and T'Challa or whoever. Give me both.
Now, to be fair, it's understandable that people are seeing T'Challa and Black Panther as synonymous, right? That's like saying recast Clark Kent, and they're like, "What are you talking about? Recasting Superman?" Like, no, right? We could be talking about Jonathan Kent. It could be a bunch of different Supermen, and for people who are not being not able to follow along specifically with T'Challa, it's a common misconception. It's easy to make that mistake,
right? But it's also why I intentionally said recast T'Challa. And if you notice, while Recast T'Challa trends, so does T'Challa. It's not like Black Panther trend. T'Challa does trend. So it was very intentional to create that level of distinction. And I do think that that is happening because people are having that conversation.
So what are we going to say about this trailer? Because I was saying before, and when you and I were talking about it, there's been a lot of assumption that people are picking up that you're just not in favor of this movie, or you're not in support of this movie at all.
Right.
I don't know about you. Even though I didn't see T'Challa recast, that trailer was kind of fire.
Yeah, I mean, it's a. I've never doubted, and I've been on the record. So if anybody's actually pulled up the tape, I've said for a long time, Ryan Coogler can cut a good movie. Ain't no question about it. The brother is mad talented.
Wow.
I just have a difference of opinion in the potential direction that some of the story may go. That's a difference. I can sit here and say I don't like the idea, and I disagree with the idea of potentially killing off T'Challa, potentially for a third time. And this movie still looks good. It still it still has great acting. It has great cinematography, great, special effects. I mean, the visuals are freaking amazing. I mean, we saw Namor in there. We saw the waves and all that stuff. The acting from Angela Bassett's probably gonna get this woman in the supporting award or something like that. I have no doubt about that. I just don't like that potential route. Now, at the same time, I don't know if that route is going to be taken until I actually see the movie. So I'm like, yo, I hope y'all don't do this, but I'm still going to watch the movie. I'm still a Black Panther fan. I still root for everybody black. Like,
am I the only
I'm not against the movie.
Wanted Namor to be just a little bit more swole?
I don't know. I never really looked at. I would just say as long as they show his, because he is cut. Tenoch Huerta. I mean, my man is. He's a shape.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure they'll give him enhanced strength.
What do you think about the Aztec background that they're associating with Namor?
What was that?
What do you think about the Aztec background they're associating with Namor now?
I'm cool with it. I mean, I thought that they could have gone what a lot of people were anticipating, which was like going more to making him of Asian descent, or at least in appearance. But we just got Shang-Chi, so I think that they're kind of leaning on that. And I think they saw an opportunity to be like, oh, hey, we can kind of tap into the more Latin, Latino, Hispanic cultural aspects. So, hey, and from what I've heard from that community is that they're ecstatic about it. They love it. So if they love it, if they like it, I love it. Like if they're happy, I'm happy.
The actor came out and had a whole, like, he took over the stage for a few moments just to talk freely about representation and how important it is. The reason I was asking is because I get, some people are like, oh, Namor, maybe he should look more Asian or something like that. Dude's last name is Mackenzie. His name is Namor Mackenzie. So sure. I'm curious about, I don't know. People have selective criticisms. This is one of those moments where you have a character that's clearly either Asian or Scottish descent, and they made him Central American.
Sure.
But there's no reaction whatsoever.
Let's not
this
forget
kind of stuff interesting.
But let's not forget, for years you also had people like Boss Logic that was creating images that kind of sort of feed into people's expectations. So like if Boss Logic says, I don't know, Namor should look like, XYZ actor, a lot of people, because that's the only thing they can see, they will run with that. It gets put into articles, it gets spread online, it goes viral. So then when the company pivots and does something else, people are like, this is shocking to me because I've never conceived this. So a lot of that plays into it too.
Yeah. It's I don't know. I find this stuff entertaining when I see people react strongly about one thing, and then when it's something tangentially similar, it's like crickets.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think it's anything bad. Right?
I don't think it's anything bad, but I just think it's telling when people are selective about what they do get passionate about.
Sure.
So I think it's a well-known open secret that Shuri will be taking over the mantle of Black Panther. Why you stone facing me? Oh, you couldn't hear me.
I said your mic is sensitive, man.
How about this?
I can hear you now.
All right. I think it's a well-known fact that Shuri is going to be taken over as Black Panther.
Sure.
Are you okay what are your expectations for Letitia Wright as a lead in this movie now? Now, something we talked about in the past was whether or not she could lead an action film.
I mean, I think that for one, it's going to be a challenge for some people, and I really want to push back on people automatically assuming that it's a level of sexism, because I think that this would be the same case for anyone. If let's just say let's flip this, right? Because the whole movie, the Ryan Coogler himself, he said that he based T'Challa, Shuri, their relationship. He wanted to base the framework, the lens that we saw him and her in through James Bond. So that whole opening scene where we saw them kind of hook up and, Shuri was showing them all the gadgets and everything. That's just James Bond meeting with Q and going through. That's all that's what that is. So the way this version of Shuri was presented to people, she had the opportunity, for example, to challenge for the throne. She didn't want it. She wanted to crack jokes, like she's 16, right? Like she's just a teenager. She even when T'Challa passed away and they had the plant, the herb right there, she didn't want it. Like, yo, no, that ain't me. And they never really, what they wanted to emphasize was that this was Q. This was Q from the James Bond series. So what does that mean? Q is a freaking genius, right? Probably one of the smartest people in the world, just like Shuri. Right. Shuri, of course, she's not like, scared to fight. She picked up her, Wakanda paws and started shooting them when she was going against Killmonger and all that. And to me, that's no different than Q picking up a gun and just shooting, right? Like it is what it is. Now, that does not mean that Q, at least the way Q's been depicted, could automatically become the next 007. And I think that's kind of the challenge some people are going to have with this movie, and that this movie is going to have with communicating to people that this character that we really did not mean to get into the spotlight so soon is now potentially, if she does become the Black Panther, now all of a sudden, not only does she have, the powers and abilities, but now she can scrap. Now she can fight. Now she can go. I'm hoping
they just wave it all away and they just say that, the same time they was teaching T'Challa, they taught Shuri.
Okay.
I'm hoping that's what they do. I'm hoping that's
for me. For me, I'm like, yo, just show that. Just show that.
Flashback. Like, they were kids. They was sitting there.
I don't think it's impossible to show these things. I think, some people are like, oh, do we need a Rocky montage?
No.
I don't think so. I'm just sitting there like, yo, she's surrounded by the Dora Milaje. Like, you mean to tell me like nobody at no time, was like, yo, remember when Killmonger was about to do this? Maybe we should go through some quick moves real quick, some self-defense, something.
I mean,
so
T'Challa knew how to fight. T'Chaka knew how to fight. The Dora Milaje know how to fight. It's clear that there's no sexism in fighting in Wakanda. So there's a possibility that she does know how to handle herself a little bit, if not better now.
Maybe.
I
would say that the first movie didn't do a good job of communicating that.
Yeah.
So that's why I said the challenge for the movie is a quick flashback or just a quick scene or something. Right. Or just even like if you say like literally a line of dialogue. Man, Okoye has been working with me for months.
Or like Carrie-Ann Moss with a lightsaber training with Luke. Quick moment, boom, had a lightsaber. Didn't even know. She's a Jedi master now.
It really does not require that much at that point.
So,
but to your question though, can Letitia Wright carry the movie? I don't think they have a choice.
I don't think she's going to be doing it by herself.
To be honest with you, I don't think it's on her shoulders.
I think it's an ensemble film too.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think people are going into this movie and saying in the back of their mind, can Letitia Wright carry this? Can she be the lead that the movie needs to have without its actual lead? I don't think people are going to care about that. I think people are going to go in there with the expectation of, because this is what people are anticipating. They want to know, what is Marvel going to do to tribute to Chadwick? How are you going to respond to T'Challa? What are you going to do? So once they figure that out, I'm just saying, once they figure out what Marvel's doing in this movie with T'Challa, Chadwick, whatever, I don't think anything else is really gonna matter.
How
I think
would fans
everybody's gonna be like,
react
whatever. This is a
if
throwaway
another
movie.
character died?
Say that again.
How would fans react if another character died? What if like M'Baku died or T'Challa's mother?
He would die. The mother could die. She could. You know what? I wouldn't even blame her because think about it. You're Angela Bassett. You have other movies that you need to do. You have other things you got to do. You can't be sitting here hold up again on 6 to 8 months of delay because of all the pandemic and all the other things going on. Because you know that Marvel contracts will keep you locked in.
Man.
So I would not be surprised if she's like, yo, kill me off. Like, I'm good. I'm done. I'm done. And you know Disney don't like parents.
Has any wiggle room.
Disney don't like parents anyway, so.
Nah. Speaking of Disney and their parents, now I'm curious about what this might mean for the future as well. Because, you know, we're already talking about Recast T'Challa, and people are looking at Wakanda Forever as if it's the finish line. But this narrative is actually going to go beyond this film. So we still have the World of Wakanda series coming out. We still have a potential series with Danai Gurira's character,
Okoye. Yeah.
And there's like 6 empty slots not listed on the Marvel Phase 6 roadmap. We can still get Recast T'Challa. Marvel still could be holding this card close to the vest. It could still be something that they plan to do in the future in this multiverse saga.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out where would it all fit in and how would that story be told. So I've been looking at this Phase 6 thing, kind of change subject a little bit. I've been looking at this Phase 6 roadmap for a while. I've been thinking about a little bit about how Wakanda Forever is bookending the story of Wakanda so far, but there's so many opportunities for them to continue the story if they choose to recast T'Challa. Going into Secret Wars, I struggle trying to figure out how this story is going to be told without T'Challa, especially if we have Namor here, especially if they're introducing Doctor Doom and the Fantastic Four and all these other characters like Riri Williams and the Young Avengers. I struggle to figure out how they're going to tell this story without T'Challa. What do we want from Black Panther 3? Whew. Yeah, there we go, right? Because it's an open sandbox.
This is, you have Secret Wars, you have the Kang Dynasty, you have incursions that are all happening.
We've already met
all
like
of that
3
stuff.
Doctor Strange and 3 Spider-Man.
Right. So all of that stuff means, here's what I'm thinking might happen. I think at some point they're going to diverge maybe a little from the comics, and they're just going to be like, you know what? We're just going to merge the worlds. Rather than, both, like in the comics, both Earths would crash into each other and realities would go away or whatever. I think they're just going to be like, you know what? We're going to try and stop these incursions. Maybe they're going to fail. And realities mesh. They like mesh together. And because they mesh together, it's a soft reboot.
I got you.
It's a soft reboot where like, X-Men always existed. Why? Because it's literally a new reality. So it's not like the other stuff never happened. It's just that incursions, we're in a whole new smack dab reality. If I'm not mistaken, I think DC did something similar to that in their CW shows. I don't watch them as much, so I can't.
Earths,
yeah, I think it was something like that. Where and it's a perfect opportunity. Again, a plot device to just be like, all right, let's get the stuff that we like and let's get the stuff we don't like, and now we have an open slate once again to create what we want, to change histories if we want, to tell other stories, maybe all over again. Recast Tony Stark, because it's a new reality now. Like, they can do other things. So I think that would be a potential route that they go in, at least from a creative writer's perspective, because Marvel never reboots, but they do softly retcon stuff, right? So it's kind of like, again, yeah, phase 1 through 3, Thanos, that happened, but the incursion, sorry, we started over.
It's hard to tell what's going on and what's not going on in Marvel continuity right now, especially with this whole He Who Remains, King the Conqueror, altering the past.
Yep.
For all we know,
Well, the past has already been altered.
Right? We already
It's
saw
already been altered.
clues in Moon
I don't
Knight.
know where we are in the timeline, because when Loki was doing what he was doing, that happened all at once.
Yeah.
Like, that happened at all different points in time. So it's not like, oh man, he did it and then now we're gonna pick up. Like, some stuff already clearly happened. Some stuff already happened in the future, and
we saw the Easter egg for the Kang variant in Moon Knight, right? We saw that Rama Tut Easter egg on that dude's denim jacket.
Right.
There's theories right now.
At the end of Loki.
Yeah. There's theories right now that Kamala's bracelet and Wenwu's 10 rings are remnants of Kang's future tech that he left in the past that people can't identify.
Yeah, possible.
I'm curious where I have so many questions, so many curiosities about what is Marvel, how Marvel can do this really well, and how they're giving me the impression that they're going to screw it up. I've been asking myself a tough question lately. After watching something like Invincible, which came out, and it was like, I had ultra low expectations because I had no idea what I was walking into. After watching a show like The Boys for 3 seasons, just give us beautiful writing, season in, season out, not missing. Is Marvel still number one? Am I still even a Marvel fan? But is Marvel still number one?
I mean, I think this kind of goes to, I told you we're still in the are we there yet phase, right? Like, we don't know where we're going. Only Kevin Feige knows where we're going. We get little hints, Secret Wars, Kang Dynasty, but we don't know what that means. Nope. Because again, it's not going to be like the comic books.
Nope.
It's clearly going to be its own MCU version of that thing. Yep. But we don't know what that version of that thing is. Like, at least with Thanos, we knew one way or another there was going to be Infinity Stones and there was going to be a snap. We didn't know when, we ain't know how, but we knew something was going to snap. But with this, you don't know what to do with Kang. You don't know what's going to happen with Secret Wars. It already looks like that they're not going to do Secret Wars, like the 80s version or whatever. Like, is it going to be a big battle royale of all your favorite heroes and villains again? We don't know. We don't know, so, and the mere fact that they have, Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars back to back, like, what does that mean? Because we're used to anything Avengers titled being a culmination of things, right?
With the exception of Infinity War. With the exception of Infinity War. When Infinity War was announced, it was announced as Infinity War Part 1 and 2, and they were going to come out in the same year. So they have a precedence for this. I get it. What I don't get is what I don't believe is that they're going to be true and actually come out in the timeline that they presented. I think that that was for PR, and that they're actually going to reschedule the Avengers films. Later.
I agree.
Because ain't no way.
I even agree with that with Destin Daniel Cretton, because they got him doing Shang-Chi 2. Then they got him producing Wonder Man. Then they got them directing.
I looked at that time. There was no Shang-Chi 2.
It was already announced, and then they got him doing Kang Dynasty. I'm like, all right, bro, you're going to give up on one of these things. Something's going to pop. Something's got to give.
That poor man. He's going to be white-haired like James Gunn by the time he leaves the MCU.
Gonna be, yeah.
I don't have a lot of high expectations for these films to come out on time. I definitely don't believe that they're going to do a close adaptation of Secret Wars. We're not going to see a Beyonder. I think it's just going to be more so that Kang is going to take the role of the Beyonder and have some weird way of manipulating all of reality.
Yeah. Like, he might bring in the variants and be like, hey, whichever timeline, y'all duke it out and I'll destroy the other one.
Yeah.
Like just something like that. Like y'all just gonna have to fight each other, and I don't care who wins, but you know, strongest of the whoever's stronger, y'all win, and you save your reality. That'd be wild.
That would be wild. That would be wild. Just like, you know, Royal Rumble, all the realities.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, yo, 616 meet 19999. Who gonna win it out?
Yeah. Oh man.
And y'all can't touch me because I'm Kang.
On a scale of 1 to 10, and you can't pick 7. Man, I miss Kevin Samuels. Anyway, that's all I really wanted to say about the Kang Dynasty, the Marvel stuff, the Secret Wars. I've just been in a funky space because of Phase 4, and I honestly, you know, I tell you all the time, I don't even know if I'm a Marvel fan anymore. I'm pretty sure I'm a Russo Brothers fan at this point, right? Like, I'm not a Star Wars fan.
You'll be all right.
I'm a Dave Filoni fan.
You'll be all right.
Right?
You'll be all right.
Yeah.
Just they still got the X-Men. They still got all these other things cooking. I think this will be the real test for them right now because there's still an uncharted territory as we speak. We've never seen a cinematic like universe tied to television shows on this level, like ever. So, you know, it's one of those things where it's kind of like, I think when we're in the midst of it, it seems weird, awkward, and maybe off-putting. But by the time we go through it, we'll be like, wow, what a ride. At least that's the hope. At least that's the hope. But at the same time, this is the testing ground, right? Because I've said the biggest benchmark for Marvel in general, if y'all fail with Fantastic Four, and if y'all fail with X-Men, throw the whole franchise away.
No. Listen, I have no faith. There's leaks about Doctor Doom, and people are like, are you excited for this? Absolutely not. Did you see what they did with Gore? How could I possibly muster any excitement for Doctor Doom?
They'll get excited for a tease.
How can I possibly get excited for Doctor Doom after what they did with Gore?
Now, you know good and well those two villains are not on the same level.
They're not on the same level. You know good and well. But you know what?
No,
but I promise you this.
I would
both
say
characters require the level of care for adaptation for fans to be satisfied, right? If you don't carefully adapt Gore, people will be upset.
I disagree. I think people will get over Gore, but they would be more hurt with Doctor Doom. I think the expectations for Doctor Doom are far higher.
Yes, but I'm just saying that it's the same approach that needs to be taken, right? Yes, people will
I disagree.
People will get over Gore because he's not as much of a household name.
No, but I think the same approach you take with Doctor Doom is what you took with Thanos. They need to be on par, and I'm talking about like you don't mess it up. You make sure Doctor Doom is that dude. You make sure he is that villain that don't nobody want to mess with, but at the same time, you got a little ounce of like,
Gore.
I think I respect you, but I don't.
Red Skull.
But I fear you a little bit too.
Ultron.
Yeah. Nah, I mean, hey, they dropped the ball with Ultron.
They dropped the ball with
Ultron, sure.
Man, a few villains.
I mean, they could still technically bring him back, but still, yikes.
Ultron promoted Gore as their premier example of Marvel treating villains right.
Yeah. They had every opportunity to get it right. You had a sympathetic character. You had him go down a terrible path, but at the same time, he had all the potential to like really wreak havoc. Like he really could have wreaked havoc, but
they introduced Omnipotency. They introduced all of these other gods, a room full of gods. It's like, you know,
I mean, that's a good start. Look, we know that Marvel does this all the time. Here goes some little teasers. Here go a couple strings. We're not going to pull them until 4-5 years later. And like, oh, hey, look at this. Hercules, a movie. Oh, look at this. Here comes Zeus again. You know, something like that.
Only way I want that to work out is if they bring Gore back. Bring Gore back and make him go on the rampage that I need.
He's done.
Oh, man.
He's done.
Yeah.
He's done. They'll bring his daughter back, though, because, you know, they love kids.
Somebody asked me a question and I couldn't answer it. They were like, if Thor could give his powers to other people, why didn't he do that during Infinity War when they could have really used the power up during that war?
Well, to be fair, Thor never really. He was still in his self-actualization mode.
I hear you, but he had the Odin Force.
Did he?
Yeah, in Infinity.
I don't know
War,
if he.
did.
I don't know if that's official or not.
It was after Ragnarok. It was right after Ragnarok. He had it.
That wasn't the Odin Force. That was his own power.
I thought that
Like,
was the Odin Force.
Nah. Zeus was not Zeus. Odin was like, look, you're not the god of hammers. Like, you have power. It's always just been channeled through the hammer, but you have it. Basically, he was using the hammer as a crutch. So all that power that we saw, that's all him.
No, but we talked about how, like, in Thor: Love and Thunder, yes, this is a more realized Thor. He's more in tune with his abilities. He's actually able to do magic, like conjure outfits like Loki and do things that he hadn't historically done. It's just, I don't know. It feels like he might have had that ability for a while. He's been holding out. That's all. It just feels like dude was holding out.
I don't think he's been holding out. He's always had the ability. He was always distracted.
I mean, like in Endgame, there's a big army. Like, yo, we could use some lightning powers, bro. You could give this to kids.
But think about it. Thor's had an identity crisis since the very first movie. Like, every movie, either people are telling him what he should be or who he should be, or he's trying to follow what people say. And it's like, it's not really until now that he's finally went on this self-discovery where nobody had to tell him about himself. He had to learn, like an adult, 1,500 years later. And at this point, now to me, I'm like, yo, how long is this journey going to go?
Oh my gosh.
Because a lot of times when you face experiences that should make you develop as a character, and he's been through a lot, but he's still like, I think I get it. I think I might grow up. And I'm like, yo, bro, you too old.
After 10 years.
And you've gone through too much to act like this.
Characters'
still.
arcs end. Tony Stark's arc ended. Steve Rogers' arc ended. Black Widow's arc ended. Hawkeye's arc ended.
This is literally just starting. He's just starting. 4 movies later, he's just starting.
I don't know if I'm a Marvel fan.
Okay.
I just don't know.
I think he'll be back.
I hope so. I grew up Marvel.
Sure.
I hope so. But man, this is tough. Yo, I can't help but imagine that Phase 6. Like, we saw 8 empty slots. I can't help but imagine 3 of them are Spider-Man.
Maybe 1, but I got a feeling you're gonna see some more Deadpool, some more Disney Plus shows, and I wouldn't be surprised if one of the Phase 6 are something mutants.
I hear you.
I think mutants. I think it has to come sometime after the Incursion, Secret War stuff. Because again, that's the best way for them to just say, yes, they've always existed. Yes, there's been a history. But the best way we can do that without forcing all the mutants to just be young and start all over is to literally create a whole new timeline that becomes the new main timeline. And then we, the audience, just go back and discover history in this new timeline.
Next year will mark the longest time we've had in between MCU Spider-Man releases.
Okay.
2 years. That's the most we do. Something tells me we're getting some more Spider-Man movies in here.
Let them take their time, man. Hopefully they'll slip up and Sony will be like, oh my God, has it been 5 years? Be like, yes.
Oh, man. Sony is right now enjoying the biggest quarter in their home entertainment division in years because Spider-Man Homecoming hit Blu-ray and DVD.
No Way Home.
I'm sorry, No Way Home.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it ballooned them to like a $260 million quarter, where they normally make $120 million a quarter. They're gonna remember.
Thank
this.
you, Marvel.
They're gonna remember this. This is not going away no time soon.
Of course they will. Thank you, Marvel.
Oh yeah.
But it's also that could also sting too. That could also be like, hey, look, we could do this ourselves. We don't need you.
Ain't no way.
We have the property.
We already know that they tried this on their own. They're not doing that. The only thing they're comfortable with doing is Venom and Morbius.
And
Madam
what is
Web
it? The Bad Bunny, El
and-
Puerto, Adam Webb,
and
Craven.
Yeah, Craven.
All the non-Spider-Man movies, which the easiest fix is just throw Andrew Garfield in there. If you just throw Andrew Garfield in all the movies, I think that is the easiest fix for them. Multiverse already exists. Everybody's gonna be fine. We know about Tom Holland.
There's
We can
probably
keep following
something
Andrew.
preventing them from using Spider-Man in their universe. Some contract or agreement with Marvel where they're like, you know what, we'll use Spider-Man as long as you don't.
Maybe. I thought that would be more. I thought it would make more sense if they did that with Tom Holland. But I wonder if Marvel might have been sneaky. I wonder if Marvel might have been like, yeah, you just can't use any Spider-Man characters without our permission, like our joint permission, if anything relates to the MCU, because that could affect us, right? So if we bring Venom in there into the MCU and y'all clout chase off of that, that means y'all can't make them Venom movies without a little bit of our consent. Maybe.
And they just dropped off a symbiote in the MCU.
They did, unfortunately. You know that's going straight for Peter.
While he has no
Secret
friends.
Secret Wars.
Right? While he has no friends or memories.
Let's not forget, Secret Wars is when he actually got the black suit in the OG comics.
I can't with Marvel. I can't. What's the next? What's the next thing
Spider-Man
coming out?
4 right there.
What's the next thing coming out with Marvel?
I don't know.
They got She-Hulk.
Oh, Black Panther. She-Hulk, yes.
She-Hulk.
That looks great.
That looks hilarious.
I can't wait for that.
And they blew their load by doing that tease in the last trailer, but I'm with it.
Yeah, they showed, I think, way too much, but either way, I'm here for it all.
I'm here for all of it. Now, oh man.
Yep. And this looks like to be the most cameo heavy, too.
I'm here for that. That's perfect.
I'm
all of that.
Totally here for it.
Bring in Ben Grimm, bring in Hulk, bring in Daredevil, bring in Jessica Jones. There's no reason Jessica Jones shouldn't be here.
Yep.
Bring in all of that. I'm absolutely for it. How many episodes is this? 6? Just recast Shang-Chi. I mean, not Shang-Chi, Iron Fist. Recast Iron Fist.
Yes, please. I think they already given us a new version of Daredevil anyway. We see him in a different suit. I think they already recast Elektra because this is not going to be a direct adaptation from Netflix. So, yeah.
That is true. All right, whatever. You know what? I have no expectations for this. I don't expect them to do anything to the level of quality that Netflix did. Honestly.
Sure. Not at all.
Drew Goddard and Joss Whedon tag team Daredevil and
oh wait, they said Marvel Zombies was actually going to be TVMA.
Yeah. That
to me is very interesting.
I mean, to a degree.
I mean,
but it's also
for the violence and stuff.
To a degree, but it's animated.
That's kind of cute.
It's animated and it's not canon.
I don't know if it's not canon.
Freshman year is not canon.
I don't think that's actually true.
What if it's not listed on the MCU timeline anymore?
And that's the thing. I think it will, because it was meant to be an origin story for Spidey for the MCU version.
So they're saying that it can't be true if he's meeting characters like Doc Ock and Green Goblin. However, this could be different because Kang messed up the timeline.
That too.
But Kang messed up the timeline before No Way Home, and he still didn't know who Doc Ock was. So make it make sense.
We'll see.
I don't know.
Maybe they're recreating these characters.
I don't.
Maybe Doctor Strange did meet him and he just forgot. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't.
Happened to Darkseid. Why can't it happen to nobody else?
Yeah, right. I just forgot how to get here.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I have for this one. Unless you had anything else you wanted to chat about, I'm really just was curious about Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, the Recast T'Challa petition, and our reactions to these that San Diego Comic-Con timeline stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the only other thing I would mention is just the fact that like there's so much fake news going out saying that Recast T'Challa supports a boycott. It does not. There's nothing in the petition about a boycott. Now, there are some people out there that want to, and here's the thing. That's their right. If they don't want, I can't tell nobody what to do with their money or not. That's not, that's not my prerogative to tell them what they need to do. I'm personally not going to boycott the movie. I'm not going to advocate boycotting the movie. Excuse me. But I could just say that when this petition started and what's literally written in it, nothing about a boycott reflected in it at all.
We doing a watch party?
I don't think. You know what? I think because I've struggled with it. I'll be honest with you because I'm like, man, I don't know if I want to throw a watch party and bring kids to come and see their hero potentially die again. However, I'm also thinking to myself, man, there's a possibility that maybe parts of this movie take place during the blip. And I'm thinking to myself, like, you know what? If they kind of sort of play with it like that, then maybe it's not that bad. So I think I might actually go ahead and do a watch party because I don't know what the movie's going to do or not. So I think for now I'm gonna do it. I'm definitely gonna watch the movie first. I might even, if it comes out early enough, I might even go out to the premiere. But we'll see.
I just want to see you come back out with that crown, looking like you straight off the plane from Zamunda.
I do still have the crown. I do have. Matter of fact, I wonder if I should just bring the Panther with me because I had like a big 60-foot, like 6-foot Panther thing with me. I don't know. I listen. I bought it for the watch party and I returned it to Amazon right after. Like immediately.
Just get a Panther outfit for Kobe and bring him on a leash.
Nah, he don't stay his butt here.
Anyway, that's all I have for this one. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you guys like these videos, do me a favor. Please hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. And otherwise, we're going to check you guys later. Peace.
Check it out, yeah. Scared money, make less of it. Don't ever let the chance pass you by. Just keep your eye up on the prizes. Life keeps spinning, these rules I break them. Life keeps spinning, them risks I take them. Run way to a bag, nigga thought you in the way, but